Hello and welcome, I'm Nito the GNTG and welcome to Raging G. Today we're going to talk about something unique. If you can remember from my Sunstone review, I mentioned that there are sex scenes that work to progress the story, and it has BDSM as a central part. The webcomic that we'll talk about today is similar as to that it uses sex as a way to show the motivation of each character. But it's a lot more since it's a porn webcomic, but it's interesting because of its characters and the motivations and psychological package of each one. So, what do you get if you combine sex, a fantasy setting, a closed society with archaic views, and a mother and daughter that want to go out, live and see the world? Alfie. So this webcomic is from InCase. I couldn't find much info about him, so here is his Twitter profile picture. He has been creating porn art for many years now, and Alfie has also started from 2010. So until today we have 7 years in the making, and for a webcomic, that's a pretty long time. We'll do a little bit different in this episode, since it's trivial for you to know the backstory of the village that our story takes place in. It's a small enclosed society of halflings that live in the woods in the town of Pickering. That one day a caravan of human and elves arrived, shaking this community. And here is where our story begins. It focuses around two characters, the mother and daughter of the same family, that each one has issues that weighs their minds and start to affect them with the arrival of the caravan. We'll begin with the daughter, Alfie, who started to have dreams of going away from the village and to see and experience the world. On the other side, we have Vera, who always wanted to leave the village and experience the world and the adventure when she was a teenager. But she got pregnant by her best friend, had a child, and stayed. Unfortunately, years later, she got her husband cheating on her with his best friend, but they keep it a secret from their daughter and the rest of the village, since if they learn about it, they'll be publicly humiliated. As you can see, we have two people that want to be free, but they can't. The arrival of the caravan, though, awakens and makes those thoughts and feelings to burn on their minds and their souls. This webcomic manages to combine the narrative of those two characters and show how people can be drifted away from their dreams by the circumstances of their lives. The first few chapters delve into this, by having Vera, the mother, to notice how Alfie is changing and becomes more and more interested in the caravan and the outside world. She was at her age once and tries to warn her about the dangers that the life she wants to chase have. Her own feelings for adventure wake up though, with the influence of Devane, an elf that orders her to create sex toys and other accessories, and makes her think more and more about the life she left behind for her family and if she really had a choice in her own future. Then we have Alfie, their daughter, whose mind was filled with stories that Vera told her as she was growing up. When the caravan arrived, it gave her a reason to escape from the social chains that tried to bind her by marriage and making a family, even though it's something that she doesn't want for herself yet. Add to that Marco, a human that they become friends with benefits even though she started falling for him slowly. It makes her grow apart from her family and the rest of the village, even though her mind is tormented by the choices she made and doesn't want to face the consequences of her actions. Then, Vera, the night when she wanted to have a serious talk with Alfie, everything falls apart. When she catches her doing it with her best friend. Something that was tormenting her, as I mentioned before, was when she caught her husband doing it with his best friend. Add to that all those awakened feelings and thoughts that were clouding her mind, she breaks and starts talking to Alfie judgmentally and saying everything that she could say to drift the two apart. And Alfie, saddened by this, leaves her family behind and goes with the caravan. But the next day, with the help of Devane, Vera has a new perspective and tries to move on with those confused feelings. She forgives her husband and tries to create a new loving home for Alfie. But when she finds out that Alfie left with the caravan, she decides to follow her. Time to talk about the art a little bit. There are a few different qualities and shading styles in the entirety of this webcomic. The first chapter is pretty good in quality, with excellent shading. But from the second chapter and for a few of the next ones, the quality went down considerably, with basic white and black colors. But after those chapters, the quality again improves, and from there it goes up all the time. especially when his Patreon about the comic was successful, and then not only his designs got continuously better, but he started adding excellent colors. The backgrounds are also amazing. They are detailed, but after a while they get a bit boring though, because you can't do much when you're in the forest. The added colors of the latest chapters bring them out more, because we start having something new to look at, since there are towns and new places to see that are interesting, especially the red forest of the latest chapters. Something that is there from the beginning though in the background is that they look alive, with many people moving all the time, showing the different races having many differences in sizes, hair, and even with the small details like face features and ears. You can notice those details even if they are in the background. Excellent work there. The panel work again is nothing to talk about for the first few chapters. They are basic and move the story forward, but the latest ones are getting better and better with each page, knowing what to put into each one and where to put it, so you can create this nice narrative. Of course, there is porn in many cases. I'm not going to dive into it or show it, but it's good, and I enjoy it. Especially when the dialogue of it shows the personality of the characters more and more. But there are many moments that it's just porn. So for people that want it, it's there. Oh, definitely it's there. And that was Alfie. An interesting blend of a good narrative and porn with great art. Good characters with ordeals that many people can relate to, and an interesting world that InCase started building more and more, since this webcomic is updated to almost 4 to 5 pages each week. So for people that are interested, they can go now and read it from start to finish. But between you and me, better be alone when you read it. And that was it for this episode. I'm NDG, and until next time, keep reading! So I hope you did enjoy this episode. Tell me down in the comments if you did enjoy it and if you want me to see talking about more webcomics or similar things. Also, you can click here to see 2 of my other videos or down there to subscribe to my channel. See ya!